Welcome, my friends of the interwebs. This is going to be a really, really shitty video. Just telling you right out of the gate. My sugar is through the roof, or my glucose, whatever you want to call it, through the roof. Yeah, I just got back from the Toledo club. I think it was let me see, when I missed that. The 16th annual Wild Game Dinner. I try to go to this thing every year. I've made most of them in the last probably 12 or 13 years. But the reason I love going to the Toledo Club for the Wild Game Dinner, let me share the menu with you, because, you know, I like Wild Game, and I go to a lot of Wild Game dinners, and, you know, usually it's like, you know, muskrat and possum, things like that, venison, whatnot. But the Toledo Club's kind of a little different situation. It's a private club. And let me just read this menu to you. The whores divorce, as some people like to call them. I like to call them the whores divorce, but yeah, the hors d'oeuvres. They had a carving table, and it had a roasted leg of antelope. It's like the whole hindquarter of an antelope. And they had a carver, and he would carve that. And they had a blackberry bourbon demi-glaze, which is one of the many reasons that my blood sugar's through the roof. And then next to that, they had a roasted a whole wild boar. It was whole from the snout to the tail. And they were carving on that. It was pretty cool. I wish I could have taken pictures, but it's a private club. People get freaked out when you bring cameras and whatnot. Let's see here. Duck wontons. Buffalo Rocky Mountain oysters. Now, yes, it's buffalo balls, but they were pretty freaking good. In case you didn't get it, buffalo testicles. Camel sliders. They were okay. Nothing really they were just little sliders. They had a piece of camel meat. Mine, I think, might have been a little overcooked. I didn't want to try more than one just because of the amount of bread on the thing, but I can say I have ate camel. Let's just leave it at that. I don't know that I would be in all that big of a hurry to eat it again. Pickled lamb tongue panini was pretty good. Little finger sandwiches, basically. And it was good. Elk heart was awesome. And venison summer sausage, which was really, really good. And so they had that. The hors d'oeuvres started at 6 o'clock in the evening. And they had, like, vendors that were set up with, different stuff. Like, Todd's Guns was there. He had a ton of ARs and things like that. And there was just different people who sold stuff. There was one vendor that had, like, concealed purses for women, concealed compartments and purses for women, and just different stuff. So then we go upstairs to the main dining room. And, this place, the Toledo Club, people have asked me what it's like, and all I can say is that if you've ever seen the movie Titanic, it's like the first class accommodations on Titanic. Yeah, it's from a different era. It's a just completely different time, where crystal chandeliers and big oil paintings. It's very much like that. So anyway, we go up to the main dining room. They started serving at 7, and the first course was venison ribs. Braised in coffee, maple syrup, and blueberries. I gotta be honest with you, it kind of sucked. The venison ribs were kind of tough. There's not a lot of meat on venison ribs to begin with. They were kind of tough and hard to chew. It was definitely not a good way to start the main courses. And then they brought out a salad, which really kind of amounted to two pieces of Bibb lettuce with a bunch of stuff on top of it. But here's the stuff. Cinnamon honey glazed Diamond H Ranch quail. Now, I will tell you that quail was out of this freaking world. It made up for the venison ribs for sure. The quail was outstanding. Anyway, it came with roasted golden and ruby red beets. Goat cheese, and goat cheese is a very strong cheese, but it's got an interesting flavor. It's funny because, when I first took a bite of the goat cheese, I'm like, man, that's too strong, but I ate the whole damn thing. I mean, it was one of those things that's kind of like, you don't really like it, but you do. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. Or you don't really like it, but you can't quit eating it. I don't know. Anyway, caramelized pear fritters and the hydroponic Bibb lettuce with grand marinara sauce, however that's pronounced. Mariner. Anyway, so then we go to, excuse me, slide down here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about the noise of the tripod, but I'm sorry. I should have been following along with this. We got done with the set. So now we're at the entree. Was roasted bison strip loin. It's basically 2 strip steaks of bison is what it is, what it was. And it was marinated in soy sauce, honey, ginger, and garlic, crusted with brown sugar and fig. You know, when I told you my blood sugar was through the roof, I was not exaggerating. That was served with a squash polanita, I don't know, Polenta, grilled bok choy and shiitake mushrooms. Those shiitake mushrooms were awesome. They really were. They were the whole thing. Actually, that whole thing, that whole entree was really, really good. That soy sauce, honey, and ginger garlic marinade, it was fabulous. It really was. But, you know, those of you who are diabetics, you just pretty much know how I'm feeling right now. So, anyway, dessert. Apple cider cream brulee with caramel popcorn. And that was kind of interesting because it was an interesting combination to put the caramel popcorn on top of this cream brulee. But it worked. It really did. It worked. And I don't know that it was something that I would order per se, but truthfully, it was pretty freaking tasty, I have to admit. So, yeah, you know, and I know that some of you are going to go, dude, you're diabetic and this is the shit you're eating. But hey, here's the deal. Honestly, honest to God, I did not know what was on the menu this year when I got the tickets, and they're not cheap. And it was one of those things. Normally I would not eat anything that has brown sugar in it or in maple syrup or any of that stuff. Every now and again, you just do what you do. You know, that's just the way it is. And I'm feeling it. And tomorrow I will probably feel like 10 times death warmed over. But, you know, it is what it is. But anyway, the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I know a lot of you that follow me are into hunting and fishing and whatnot. And I'm sure a lot of you have went to wild game dinners. I'd be curious to know, and in the info section, let me know. Have you ever been to a high-end a wild game dinner? You know, I mean, that has things like this on the menu. I would be very, very curious. For those of you who haven't, or maybe you have the opportunity to go to one of these events, do. Believe me, it's worth it. It really is. To have exotic wild game or wild game in general served, cooked by a 5-star type chef is in itself worth the ticket. It really is. It's worth the ticket. Don't get me wrong. I like a roaster with muskrat in it just as well as the next guy does. And you know what? I love me some squirrel. You know, there's not much in the wild game realm that I'm not down with. But, and every year, by the way, they do something different for their wild game dinners, which is kind of cool. I mean, I can remember, I think the first one I ever went to, they served, one of the things they served was rabbit and rattlesnake sausages, and they were freaking fabulous. They really were. But I think going to these wild game dinners at the Toledo Club, I think I've tried just about every possible thing that you can imagine as far as wild game goes. I mean, I've had iguana, I've had, you name it, they've had it. And, kangaroo, which was freaking awesome, ostrich, which was freaking awesome, emu, which was freaking awesome. I've had all that stuff. But now, also, once again, all that stuff was prepared by a 5-star chef. So who knows if that makes the difference or not. But I will tell you, this year he killed me with all the sweetness. I don't know if he was on a hell bent to kill all the diabetics or what. But anyway, neither here nor there. I don't want to go over 10 minutes on this video. So in the comment section, let me know. Has anybody ever been to a high-end wild game dinner before? And if so, what'd you think about it? And if you haven't, would you be interested in going to something like this? I'd be very curious. They're not cheap. I'm not going to tell you what it cost, but it was a big chunk of change. But anyway, listen, everybody, that's all I got for you. I'll probably be posting some more stuff on the Mad Bad Voodoo channel. I know a lot of you ask for it. I juggle a lot of things. Anyway, everybody take care. See ya!